We're diving into a story today that, honestly, is about so much more than just cricket. It's about spirit, about bouncing back, and about what it really takes to chase greatness. Let's get into it.
Just take a look at this. One kid facing this massive, empty stadium. This is really where it all starts. Not with the cheering crowds, But in the quiet, when the dream feels so big it's almost overwhelming.
Right, because it's not just a highlight reel of runs and records. Nope, this is a story about struggle, about an insane amount of courage. It's about what it actually takes to become a legend, to write your name into the history books for good.
And you know what? This is a story for all of us. It's for anyone who's ever chased a dream, walking into the unknown with just a little bit of belief and the tools to get the job done. It's about facing the odds head on.
So here's how we're going to break down this incredible journey. We'll start with a boy's obsession, then see how he was forged in fire. We'll watch the relentless rise and the king's reign, feel the weight of the crown, and finally understand a legend's legacy.
All right, let's dive into Chapter 1, A Boy's Obsession. We're starting in West Delhi. Think middle-class family. Big dreams, not a whole lot of resources. And right in the middle of it all, there's this young kid who decides that cricket is everything.
And look, we're not talking about some perfect green field here. This was the West Delhi Cricket Academy. It was all dust and sweat. The only thing you'd hear for hours was that thwack of the ball on the bat. For him, this place was basically a second home. It's where that obsession really grew, long before anyone knew who he was.
And this right here, this is what it was all about. It wasn't about having the best gear or coming from money. Nope. It was built on a bat that was falling apart, shoes covered in dirt, and just hours and hours of practice in the burning sun. Just pure, gritty, hard work. That was the foundation.
And this is the key. So many kids have talent, right? A natural gift. But he had something else, something deeper, a hunger. A real, ferocious hunger to win, to prove everyone wrong, and to just refuse to be average. That's what made him different.
Okay, so now we get to the part of the story that changes everything. Forged in fire. Because that hunger we just talked about, it was about to be tested in the worst way possible. You know how every hero has that one defining moment? Well, his wasn't a victory. It was a tragedy. A moment that would literally forge him into who he was meant to become.
So get this, it's 2006, he's only 18 years old, he's in the middle of a really important match, and overnight, he loses his father, the guy who was his #1 fan, his rock, the person who took him to practice every single day. I mean, for most people, that's it. Game over. Your spirit is just broken.
Just let that sink in. With all that grief, that absolute heartbreak, what does he do? The very next morning, he gets his gear, walks back out there, and gets ready to bat. He didn't run, he didn't hide, he showed up.
And that moment of courage, wow. It wasn't just about the 90 runs he scored to save his team that day, it was so much bigger than that. It was a promise to his dad. It was about carrying on that dream. Right there, in that moment of incredible focus while everything else was falling apart, a boy started turning into a man.
And that was the turning point. After that, pain became his fuel. He took all of that heartbreak and turned it into this unbreakable determination. He got quiet, and he let his batting do all the talking. The grief didn't destroy him, it literally built him.
So out of that fire comes the next chapter, the relentless rise. First up, 2008. He leads the under-19 team to a World Cup victory. Boom! India's got a new hero. But, and this is a big but, going from teenage star to a solid member of the senior team, that's one of the toughest jumps in any sport. The real fight was just getting started.
Making it to the senior team was a huge wake-up call. I mean, the spotlight at that level is just brutal. Critics were all over him, picking apart his technique. That fire he had, that intensity, everyone just called it arrogance. And honestly, a lot of young players just crumble under that kind of pressure.
But his response? It was a total game changer. He didn't argue with the critics. He just went to work. He completely reinvented himself. He started a fitness revolution in Indian cricket that nobody had seen before. I'm talking giving up his favorite foods, adopting this insane training schedule. He basically turned himself into a world-class athlete, not just a cricketer. His plan was simple. Outwork everybody else, period.
And all that work, all that sacrifice, well, it paid off. Big time. This brings us to the next phase, the king's reign. This is when he wasn't just
a great player. He was the player, an absolute force of nature. This is when the world started calling him King Kohli. And this became normal. It was almost routine for fans everywhere. You just see the bat go up, hear the roar of the crowd, another century. It got to a point where a match-winning 100 wasn't a surprise anymore. It was just expected. He took the pressure of 1 billion people and made it his home.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They're insane. They really do speak for themselves. But just focus on the one-day internationals for a second. 51 centuries. 51! To give you some perspective, some of the all-time greats retired with less than half of that. Across the board, he wasn't just scoring runs, he was building empires. This is what it looks like to be ridiculously consistent at the very top.
And this quote just nails his mentality, especially when chasing a score. He wasn't playing defense, he was attacking the best bowlers in the world. He treated a run chase like a hunt. He was a predator, and he had this insane belief that no target was too big. For him, it was personal. It was a puzzle he just loved to solve.
But listen, the crown is heavy, and no king gets to reign forever without hitting some major bumps in the road. When you're that successful, the pressure is just immense from everyone. And that pressure led to what was, without a doubt, the toughest time in his entire career.
Just like that, the run machine just stopped. For over 1,000 days, the guy who made scoring centuries look like child's play couldn't get one. All that praise he was used to, it turned into non-stop criticism. And the doubts from the outside and inside his own head just got louder and louder.
And right in the middle of this slump, he did something you almost never see from an athlete at his level. He opened up. He admitted that he was struggling mentally, that he felt completely alone even when he was surrounded by people. He chose to be honest instead of pretending to be invincible. And in that moment, he became so much more human to all of us.
But you know what? That vulnerability, it wasn't a weakness at all. It was the launching pad for his comeback. He was patient, he was resilient, and he tapped into that same fire he had as a kid. And slowly but surely, he fought his way back. The centuries started flowing again, and the king was back.
So that brings us to the final chapter, his legacy. And when people talk about Virat Kohli years from now, it's not going to be just about those crazy stats. It's going to be about how he changed the entire sport from the ground up.
His real legacy? It's the culture he built. He made fitness a top priority, turning the Indian team into absolute athletes. He became the poster boy for discipline and self-belief. More than anything, he proved to a whole generation that your talent means nothing if you don't back it up with insane amounts of hard work.
And here we are, full circle. You can see his legacy in every kid getting up at the crack of dawn to practice, in every athlete pushing through the pain when the cameras are off. He inspired millions of people to believe that where you start doesn't have to be where you finish.
And really, that's the big lesson here, isn't it? Legends aren't just born with some magic talent. They're built. They're built day by day, through all the struggles and all the sacrifices. Greatness is a fire inside you, and you have to fight to keep it burning.